everyone, I'm Rachelle Reimers, Demas Communications Manager. As a professional graphic designer, understanding what makes a good design is like second nature to me. But even if you aren't a professional graphic designer, you can still design beautiful and effective promotional materials by having a solid understanding of basic design principles. So that's what we're going to cover in the next two videos. PARC. P-A-R-C. This acronym stands for the four basic design principles: proximity, alignment, repetition, and contrast. Today, we'll cover proximity and alignment and their role in contributing to successful design. To get started, I'm going to open up canva.com since it's a free graphic design platform and demonstrate how these two principles can turn a blasé design into something much more powerful. Okay, so what I've done here in Canva is create a flyer for my fictional business. You may recall it from a previous video where we were talking about branding and developing a brand board. My business is Rachelle's Scuba Shop. And what I've done intentionally is designed a flyer that needs a lot of help, and it needs the help of the basic design principles: proximity, alignment, repetition, and contrast. So right now we're going to look at it in terms of proximity and alignment and how we can make some adjustments based off those two principles and how that'll really help improve the overall effectiveness of this piece. So to begin, let's go ahead and talk about proximity a little bit. When several things are in close proximity to each other, they become one visual unit rather than separate entities. And that's really important for creating organization on a page. If you organize your information well, it allows the piece and your information to be more likely read and more likely to be remembered, which are very critical, obviously, in marketing and when you're trying to make sure your message is getting across well and effectively to, say, a potential customer. So a couple things in this particular piece where the proximity could use a lot of help. Let's go over to these different areas. One, let's start here on the right-hand side with the visit us. Here's the location. Now the header and the actual location spaced out a lot. It's kind of hard to understand that we're trying to tell them to visit us at this particular location. Bringing those two together would make it a lot more obvious and a lot more impactful. The About Us section here, again, the header is too far away from the paragraph itself. Bringing those together will allow readers to immediately identify that the copy here is telling us about the business. Over here on the right-hand side, we have what would appear to be some sort of a list with three different items. Now, not only is the number spaced too far away from the little blurb that it's meant to be paired with, but each blurb and each number is far too far apart as well. Bringing everything together, both vertically and horizontally, will make this a more cohesive list and a lot easier to understand it's meant to be a list, and those things are all somehow related. And then finally, down here at the bottom, we have some contact information here and then some contact information here. Now, bringing those two pieces, the website and the phone number, together, say both down here in this footer area, would make it a lot easier to understand that that section is providing you with all the contact information and you're not searching all over the page for it. Now, when it comes to alignment, nothing should be placed kind of haphazardly on a page. We want to do everything with intention. Alignment helps create unity and organization on the page, kind of similar to proximity in that regard. In order for elements on the page to feel unified and connected and related, there needs to be a visual tie between those separate elements. So by creating an alignment, even if they're on opposite ends of the page, if they're aligned, it creates a visual cue that those items are somehow related or belong together. By being conscious of your alignment, it can create a strong impact and really elevate the look of your marketing piece. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the changes that can be made to this particular piece when it comes to alignment. To start, I really like to create strong lines both on the right and left-hand side of the page. So if you look over here, this piece could be significantly elevated by aligning all these elements that are kind of here on the left-hand side with one another, right? So if they all lined up, that would help organize the piece, really strengthen design. Same goes for over here. If visit us, the address, these numbers, if these all lined up on the right-hand side, and then subsequently these little blurbs lined up along with the numbers, having just those things in alignment right there would make this design so much better. Also, one tip I would say is it's easy to default to a center alignment with our copy. I would really recommend trying to stay away from that. When you right justify or left justify, in particular left justify something, it is going to make it so much more impactful and so much stronger. Center alignment should be really a conscious decision and reserved for something like a formal invitation or something of that nature. We're going to go ahead and scroll up to an improved version of this flyer where I have taken the proximity and alignment into consideration and made some significant changes, and that has really helped elevate this design. We'll go over those. So as you can see, with proximity, I've brought in headers closer together. I have grouped like with like. Our contact information is all in the same area now. It's really, this is the after and here's the before. This seems very disorganized, kind of hard to follow. Our eye doesn't really know where to go, but in the new and improved version, there's definitely a flow to the piece, a definite organization and grouping. When it comes to alignment, everything here on the left-hand side is lined up, same on the right, which creates a very strong visual cue. Really helps elevate the whole piece of the design. So you can see just by doing some small tweaks with these two particular principles, it can really make a huge impact. So if you keep these in mind when you're designing your pieces, you are on a great path to designing really impactful marketing materials. Thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email is Rachelle@dima.org.